We're here today for the U.S.-China Forum, and one of the many reasons we wanted to have you be part of it is we wanted to hear about your experiences trying to conduct business or conducting business in China beginning as early as the 1970s. I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit.
So my first trip to China was in 1976. I studied a little bit of China when I was in college, and it was always a dream to go to China. And I got an opportunity. It was in July of '76, and so Mao was still alive. And we traveled probably for 7-8 days in China. And
where did you stay?
There were hotels in each of the places that we stayed, old hotels. Mm-hmm. When I would go to the hotel manager and say I was in the hotel business, could I see the back of the house? That caused chaos. He had to go to the party and check with the party leader as to whether I could see the kitchen. Generally, I wasn't able to see the kitchen.
You were not?
No.
Okay.
But what you saw in '76 was the unbelievable scale of China. When you went in any city, virtually, you took your life in your hands trying to cross the street because of the number of bicycles that were coming. Not so many cars, staggering amount of bicycles. You got party lines.
It's striking because the streets are so orderly now.
Yes, exactly.
And particularly when you compare it to India now.
No, this was dangerous stuff, and there wasn't that sort of order.
Yeah.
You didn't feel an ordered society other than if you asked questions, you got the party line. So the game we played was try and come up with a question that doesn't have a party line answer. And it was virtually impossible, or they would just bridge to the party line answer no matter what you asked. So '76 was about understanding the scale and understanding what the Cultural Revolution was like, which had no business, no economic part to it.
Was the Cultural Revolution still evident, and how did that manifest itself?
The Cultural Revolution was evident not in violence, and certainly not in anything we saw, because we were so early, it was carefully choreographed. But what was evident was the fear, and therefore the party line, and no deviation at all, nor could you develop a rapport. There was a very intentional distance that everybody kept. So my second trip to China was in 1981. They wanted to develop tourism in Tibet. And so I used that as an excuse, wearing my Hyatt hat, because I was very interested in Tibet. I've done some scholarship in that area.
That's little known. You are a professor, I recently found out.
It is little known. It is, and we keep it little known in case they're real professors who talk to me about it. And so we went to Tibet. It was Margot and I representing Hyatt, some people from Lindblad, including Tenzing Norgay, who had been the first man up Everest, and it was fascinating. They wanted to talk business. So we kept waiting to talk business. We went on tours, and every night we'd come back, and there we were staying at a military installation, and very primitive. And the waiters were in white outfits and serving us the food every night. And
were you the only Americans?
We were the only
foreigners
there. And then the second to last night, after dinner, they said, we're ready to negotiate. And the waiter...
Did you know that was coming that night, or
we
you just kept
waiting and waiting, wondering
Yeah.
where the punchline was. And the waiters then took off their white jackets, put on their Mao jackets, and they were the people that we were going to now negotiate with. So we sat down to negotiate, and what they said is, now, we want to build a hotel here in Tibet. So what we will do is we'll lease you the land, you build the hotel, and then you give it to us at the end of 5 years. And I said, is that negotiable? And they said, no, that is the deal that we're willing to do.
Did that resemble any other deal Hyatt had ever signed?
Not exactly, hopefully not. And we then actually excused ourselves, went in the other room, drank the better part of a bottle of scotch, went and sat down back with them, and I went through what you would have given as an economics lesson. Behind door A, I can build the building and give it to you in 5 years.
Yeah.
Behind door B, I can take that same $100 and put it in bonds.
Yeah.
At the end of the 5 years, here's what I have behind door B and behind door A. And didn't phase them.
They were unmoved.
I don't think they digested it. And so mission
So there was
accomplished.
no sense of prices or net
No
present
sense of
value
prices,
or
no
internal
sense
rate of
of-
return.
No
or-
sense of profit, no sense of the role of profit. And so for many years, I have very good friends in China. They basically said, you can't, this is early 80s, you can't invest in China because the people you're going to compete with don't use a profit motive. So how are you going to compete with someone who doesn't care about the bottom line? And of course, it's evolved an
Yeah.
enormous amount in that period of time in the last 40 years.
Terrific. Thank you.
Good, thanks.